let's talk about manliness. Manliness is something that is incredibly subjective and it's hard to pin down. I'll tell you why. Wait for it. Here's a picture of Conan the Barbarian. Here's the stereotype of manliness from the 1930s and 40s. And coming up here you have the manga Train Man, which is about a man who falls in love with a girl. Okay, very different kinds of manliness. I decided to pick up from Stephen Fry's podgram thingy that he does and talk about the different perceptions of manliness, particularly on when people are discussing them on the internet. Now, when you look at this picture from Love Hina, you can think of a lot of things. One thing that you probably think is that Kitaro, the main lead, is a pervert. When I see this image, I think, gee, what an interesting depiction of how women interpret how men see women in both their art and their ideas about women, which they pick up through the media, through art, through all kinds of places, maybe from experience, that they put into their general jigsaw puzzle of what they think women are like. Now, when a girl looks at an idea a man has about a woman, or a drawing a guy has done of a woman, they usually try and pick it apart if they don't agree with it, and this can be very embarrassing for the man in question who is just trying to show his ideas. And even if he seems like a sexist pig, he might think that, oh crap, maybe I'm wrong about my ideas. Who knows? There could be some very traumatic reasons in this man's past that he thinks this particular image of a woman is right. Who knows? Anyway, on to the next bit. Before I get too gushy about women in general, because I'm a hopeless romantic like Karen here, I want to make this perfectly clear. I might be on medication most of the time, and you're probably wondering, if you're a female viewer watching this or listening to this, what a socially impaired person is doing talking about all this. But really, it's about manliness from a man's perspective, and sometimes it involves talking about women. But let's get on to the really manly parts. This is Shah Rukh Khan, a Bollywood star who is really famous in India, but not many people in the West have heard of him unless they're Indian. Now, some would find this guy a hottie. Others who have seen his movie Devdas would think he's an absolute wuss, as compared to somebody like Brad Pitt, who is more famous because he stars in more movies that Westerners tend to watch. And for this reason, Westerners are more familiar with Brad Pitt, and some cultural ideals of manliness are instilled in Brad Pitt, which Shah Rukh Khan does not possess in the eyes of the Western viewer. And for this reason, when I did my sociological research on whether Brad Pitt or Shah Rukh Khan was seen as the manlier movie star from each different culture, Brad Pitt won out because most people like Tyler Durden because he's a bit more of a man of action than Shah Rukh Khan, who was depicted in the movie Devdas as kind of, an emo, to put it bluntly. An emo who sits and drinks and whines about losing his love, while Tyler Durden blows things up. Men like explosions in their movies in our culture in the West. And there's nothing wrong with a good explosion every now and then in a movie. But when there are too many explosions and not enough thinking, that's when you have a problem. And really, that's the issue with masculinity at the moment. Because men typically see themselves as men of action rather than sitting around talking about things to solve problems. Problem solving is usually suited for figuring out how to solve a problem, and then they do something to solve the problem. Whereas Devdas is seen as somebody who sits around, drinks, and tries to forget about his lost love by drinking himself to death. Sorry, spoilers. Anyway, you're not missing much. But do see Devdas if you can. It's a good movie. It's quite different to Fight Club, which I compared it to for a sociological school project. And the results of that particular project studying masculinity was particularly interesting because although people agreed with the fact that Tyler Durden was easier to identify with as a male character, Devdas provided a different lens to which manliness was viewed through. Even though both focus groups thought he was a whiny little bitch, they still thought, oh, this is interesting, I haven't seen something like this before. And that's the thing, when you see new things, you might not accept it straight away. And really, sorry, had to take a break. Anyway, do you know why Train Man is such a good book? Because it's not just a good book or a good manga, it's something that speaks to guys who are lonely and don't know whether a girl will ever love them. It gives them hope that even a weak, nerdy guy can stand up to a guy who's harassing a girl on a train and basically save the girl and have a meaningful relationship with a woman that doesn't just involve getting it on. Yes, it's a damsel in distress sort of thing, but initially it's not. And I don't know where I'm going with this. Wait a minute, I think I do. Hold on for a sec. I'm going to have to continue this in another video, but basically, even Conan the Barbarian isn't a complete sexist pig. He actually deals with problems and, well, he enjoys the love of good women. That's basically what he does. Kills bad guys and makes love to beautiful women. That's what Conan is. But he's more than just Arnold Schwarzenegger bust the door in. He's actually an appealing hero because all guys want to be the hero. They want to be awesome and save the day and stuff, even if they're weak and nerdy like Train Man. But anyway, men need stories about strong heroes because they need to be inspired in their lives. Because frankly, the world is a very dark place at the moment, and guys need to stand up and, do something about their lives. Anyway, I'll continue this in another video that I'll make on another day because I'm tired and my meds are wearing off again. Okay, another video another time.